Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Good evening, everyone. This is Monday, October 10th at 6:01. I'm going to call to order the regular board meeting, the Anthony Wayne Board of Education. Carrie, would you please call roll?
Mr. Baden?
Here.
Mrs. Brent?
Here.
Mrs. Quinn? Here. Mr. Lutz?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
All right. Rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. First item on our agenda is to approve the minutes from our September 12th meeting. If there are any corrections or errors on it, if you've noticed anything, please talk about that. If not, I need a motion to
I'll
approve.
make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will. And a second,
I'll second.
Jeff. And Carrie, would you please call roll?
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Brent?
Yes.
Mrs. Quinn? Yes. Mr. Lutz?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Alrighty. And we'll go to Treasurer's Report, Carrie.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is to approve the monthly financials for September 2022. I do apologize for the late uploading today of the financials. We were a little behind on balancing, so I do apologize for that. Under item B is to approve the donations as listed. We're always very appreciative of those. You can see we have $16,000 from the Waterville Parents Association, and that's going to be used to facilitate an outdoor education space. So, under item C is to approve the emergency connectivity grant, and this is actually funds from fiscal year 2022 that just ended June 30th. We just received these funds last week, or about a week and a half ago, actually. This is another form of ESSER money that we made application for with some laptops that we had bought. And then we had to go through an appeal process to get the funds. So, no, we did everything that we were supposed to, but it's the jumping through hoops sometimes to get it. And we had a quote that had a different date on it that wasn't suitable. But when we went through the appeal process, we did get the funds.
Okay.
And actually, I've learned that this happened to about 25 districts. So we weren't alone in it, which I kind of thought we were. So, but we're grateful for those funds, even though we already spent them. So this will replenish our, well, we didn't have a choice, but,
Right.
but this will replenish the expenditure for that. So, and then the last item I have is to approve the authorization to advertise for the bids for the HVAC project. This is going to be for the campus buildings in the Monclova primary, and this will be for unit ventilators replacement. And we are using some ESSER funds. This goes back to the amount that we could allocate ESSER funds for such a project. We're going to use a little bit less than we initially anticipated. We originally had $1 million budgeted for that, and we did run into a little bit of that so we could have the second year of summer school for our students. So we felt that that was a great source for our students to do that, a great service. So we've been able to have that, but we will still be around 750 out of ESSER funds and then the rest out of PI. So. And that is all I have. I will be getting with you in regarding a date for the 5-year forecast work session.
Oh, this month yet.
Well, it
Probably.
just has to be approved in November.
Right.
So, but we have an early November meeting.
Right. That's true.
Yes, so it will be this month.
Okay.
And
I
that
just
is,
sorry,
Go ahead.
mention the HVAC project. This is something that we've been working on, but we wanted to put it in a time frame that would allow us to do most of this work when kids are not in school. So that's why we had shifted it to going through the approval process. And, this is a multi-month process to get the project, we approve the bid, to go to bid, then we go to bid, and then we get it approved, and then we talk about, and there's such a delaying actually getting the unit ventilators. We're talking about purchasing them earlier And so we can get them in on time and those types of things. But there's also some air quality improvements that are part of this as well. And so, this is why we're in fall talking about really a project that's going to start late spring, early summer of next year. So just be aware of that that's the time frame of this project moving forward. So
And it's supposed to finish before school starts, like in August or something. I think
yeah,
was
that's the goal. Yes, definitely.
But I think it's good to note too, it's the safety improvements, dealing with the newer ventilation as well as like the ultraviolet and the recommendations that came out of COVID, with air filtration and how many times the air turns over and all that stuff. So it's a good, spending the money for that is a good investment there. Yeah.
And these are the final bids, right? So this is the final proposal.
Yeah, so we'll go out to bid, and if we have a bid that meets the requirements of the bid process, then we'll bring that to you for board approval, and then we'll move forward with that.
Yeah, this is just advertising for the bids.
Gotcha.
Advertise, okay.
Yeah,
Do
we're
we have a
advertising-
time frame on it yet, or on when it,
Matt, you had a whole timeline set up on that,
just for the bidding process?
Do you remember what the time frame is for the actual bids to come in? Okay,
the December board meeting
All right.
is when they'll likely bring them for approval.
Okay,
because it has to be out for bid for a certain period of time.
right. That's what I just was
And
curious.
are there a required number of bids then that you'll seek?
Well, hopefully we'll have more than one. That's the goal,
More
so it's
the
competitive.
more the better.
Yeah, the more the better.
And at least one that's
We'll get a
low.
good idea too on, obviously, when people are asking about specifics about the project and those types of things, then you get a good sense of how many bids we may get. If it doesn't meet the qualifications within certain parameters of the cost of what we estimated it to be, then we can reject the bids and go through that process again and maybe have to modify some of what we're doing or look at maybe breaking it up into other pieces.
Okay. Makes sense.
Lots of options if it doesn't meet our requirements.
Any other questions on that? Or any of Carrie's items? If not, I need a motion to approve the treasurer's reports.
I'll make a motion to approve as proposed.
Troy, and a second, please.
I'll second.
And Carrie, would you please call roll?
Mr. Baden,
Yes.
Mrs. Brand,
Yes,
Mrs. Gwynn,
Yes.
Mr. Lutz,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you.
already, thank you. And superintendent's education reports.
Thank you. First up is FCCLA, so I'm going to turn it right over to them.
Am I on?
You are on.
Well, we're so pleased to be able to come back to you again this year and share with you some of the amazing success that our students have had here. And we just could not be more proud of them. Unfortunately, we don't have all of our kids that we took to nationals in San Diego, sunny San Diego last July, but we have some of our top-notch people. I'm Kaylin Schaller. I'm the Penta Career Center satellite teacher at Anthony Wayne Junior High School.
And I'm Amanda Valdez, the FCS satellite teacher at the high school.
And, I know that you're thinking, well, they come here every year and talk about these kids, what they do, but we make this look really easy. I assure you, it is not easy. The students that we have with us and the students that went with us to San Diego, they worked all year long. You began, what, October? About, if not before? Well, you actually already picked, yeah, right. And they work very hard on these projects, and they utilize an FCCLA planning processes, which is what they use to organize every single project. And most of our students really then take that to heart and use it in other areas of their life that they need to make an important decision. They identify a concern, they set a goal, they form a plan, and then they act upon their plan. And I mean to tell you, some of the things that they did were really, really spectacular. And right now, I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they did. and their significant accomplishments. The one right here that I do want to brag about is a $1,000 grant that we got for a stand-up award. And if that doesn't sound like Anthony Wayne students, I don't know what is. And you're going to talk a little bit about that too, right, Grant? All right. So.
I'm Grant Hubley, and I just want to take a quick second to thank the school board for allowing me to speak on behalf of our amazing FCCLA group. I'm currently in my third year of an eventful FCCLA journey. Last year, my amazing advisor, Ms. Schaller, convinced me to compete in a career development event. And over the next 11 months, I won a $1,000 grant for a chapter. I qualified with 2 projects for the National Leadership Conference. I completed the Franklin Covey Leader in Me program. I won first place nationally with the Public Policy Advocacy Project about climate change. I wouldn't have gone to San Diego without the support of Penna Career Center, my advisor, Ms. Schaller, and my outstanding fellow chapter members, who I became best friends with over the course of the week at Nationals. Our FCS department at both the junior high and high school are influential and important parts of our school. Thank you.
Grant, what are you holding here?
This is my plaque for my first place, for winning first place nationally for public policy advocacy.
Yeah, a first in the nation.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aradhya Muttamala, and I am a freshman at Anthony Wayne High School. I attended the FCCLA National Leadership Conference this July. After competing, I received a gold medal and a first place in the nation award for my project, Instructional Video Design. This project was presented on the importance of school gardens. I don't think I would be standing here today without the amazing help and support of my advisor, Ms. Schaller, as well as the support of Penta Career Center. I'm so grateful for everything that they do. I would also like to thank my chapter members. Over the course of my FCCLA journey, they have all become like a family to me. FCCLA has provided me with so many opportunities to travel, learn, and I have had so much fun. I hope to continue this journey into my future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hannah Rizzo. I'm a senior at Anthony Wayne, and I've been in FCCLA for 2 years now. I joined FCCLA because I wanted to further my leadership skills, meet new people, and travel to different places. Last year, I competed in the Nutrition and Wellness Project event. My project was about creating a nutrition and wellness plan based on my subject's health. By doing this project, I gained skills such as promoting a person's health, the importance of a person's health, and the importance of physical and mental health. My nutrition and wellness project ended up granting me the opportunity to travel to sunny San Diego in California and compete at a national level. At nationals, I placed 3rd in the nation, and here's my plaque to show you. And during my time in FCCLA, I not only improved my education, but also the opportunity to improve my leadership and presentation skills. I am very grateful for my fellow chapter members and my advisor, Ms. Valdez. She not only cares about my education, but also my health and wellness. I also wanted to thank the FCS department because it has taught me many things that I will later need in my life. And lastly, I wanted to thank Anthony Wayne and Penta Career Center for the opportunities they gave me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Congratulations to all of you. I know there's a lot of time and effort that goes into preparation and get ready for an event like that, and just outstanding performances. And just thank you for your dedication to the program. Thank you to the staff, and you guys do a great job of working with them and preparing them and getting them ready. And it's just awesome to see what you have done. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Welcome.
Well done.
I've been sitting in this chair for, I don't know, 15, give or take years. And this has always been the highlight of every year is what is coming, hearing your presentations. I'm always so impressed every year more so than the year before on yeah. Yeah.
Again, when people complain about the youth of the future, what's going on, I feel as if given an opportunity to really excel, they did excel. And, certainly a big part of that is being in a wonderful school district such as this, and then with Pender Career Center, which fully backs all the career technical student organizations. We really have a huge advantage that other schools may not have. So, both schools really deserve a lot of credit.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Yes.
Very nice.
Next, I just want to say thank you. Our administrators, this month, we recognize administrators across the nation. I can't say enough about our administrators. They, day in and day out, have long hours, tough jobs, and that was definitely the case, in the last couple of years. We all came together, we worked hard for kids, and we tried to do the best that we could at the time. And so I can't thank them enough, not only for that, but their continued dedication to the school district and what they do each and every day. Being in the buildings before and being a central office administrator, it's a grind some days, but if we keep focusing on our why, we talk about that all the time, right? Why we do what we do. I think we work together to collectively have a why, and that's for kids, to be here for kids and be here for our staff. They do a great job of leading and managing their buildings and their departments. And so I can't thank them enough for each and every day what they do. So just wanted to publicly say thank you to them. The next item, strategic planning, just to give you an update on that, where we're at with that. Right now, we're still collecting information from the buildings where we asked them to provide more actions for the first two goals of the strategic plan. We're also having discussions about what does a future-ready student look like as far as skills that they need in order to be successful upon graduation. And so that's kind of where we're at right now with that. Facilities assessment, just know that right now, the collaborative, the group that we had hired to do that work, they're still finalizing. They said they're about 95% or so done with that, of all the buildings and facilities that we have in the district. That would include athletic facilities, outdoor athletic facilities as well. So we did meet with them and discussed some of the things that they saw in the outdoor athletic facility items, and we're going to have some conversations with the coaches next about that. And then kind of come collectively, once we have the facilities assessments done and the outdoor assessments done, then that's where we'll decide, okay, how are we going to approach the community about this as far as getting input from the community on what should the future as far as our facilities be moving forward? What do they think of possible plans moving forward to meet all the diverse needs that we have in the school district? Okay. So more to come on that moving forward. November 8th, obviously, you approved to be on the ballot for a renewal levy. We sent out a message on Friday to parents, staff, government officials, and some community members in regards to that we have contact information for. We did that so that people are becoming more aware of it. As we've talked about, there's some limitations on what we can and cannot do with levies. It's different than in the past based on the state auditor's office. But with that being said, it is a renewal. It was originally approved for a 5-year renewal. Then in 2013, we did it for 10 years, and that's why it's up now for that 10-year period. And it's on the ballot again for another 10 years. It's a $3 million fixed amount levy. And honestly, when you look at the millage for the average home in Anthony Wayne, it's actually less per month than ordering a pizza from Marco's. We order a lot of pizzas in my house, so I do know that. So, it's something that obviously put on there as a necessity. So, just bring that up so that everybody that's listening to this message can hear that and be aware of that moving forward. There is a spot on our website that talks just facts about the levy, the renewal part of it, when it was initially approved, how much it cost per $100,000 of home value, so people can get a rough idea of what that cost is, and some other information in regards to that. Communication with stakeholders. You remember, obviously, that we hired Rebecca to be our communication specialist. She's done a phenomenal job of working with all of us to improve how we communicate. And we're looking forward to more ideas moving forward on how we communicate with all stakeholders, internally and externally. But I'm very happy with that moving forward. We've used her creative expertise in many ways to do some things a little bit differently in how we communicate. And we've definitely seen that be an improvement. She's definitely better at some of the graphics than I was ever at in creating some of those documents. So appreciate her work in doing so. 23-24 school calendar, just know that we're working on it. I'm not asking you to approve it this month. I did put a copy in there. It's relatively the same as what it is this school year as far as starting dates and Christmas breaks and spring breaks and end of the school year. Those are the main things that kind of drive a school calendar. Where do you start? Where do you end? And where are the breaks at in between? And how that plays into the specific parts of the calendar throughout the school year. And so we're working with the staff on taking some of that input at this time. But just want to make you aware that we are working on that. Hopefully we'll bring one to you for approval in November, so that parents have that prior to going on some vacation so they can plan for the next year moving forward. Any questions on those items? Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
For the strategic planning, do we have a date on when the next phase will be, or what time frame we're giving each building?
Are you talking about the facilities assessment part?
Strategic planning.
The strategic planning.
Yeah, so the strategic planning, obviously, we're working with the staff on, we're working with administrators on goals and how do we put ourselves in a position so that we're working on those action steps and moving that forward, right? And so that's what we're doing right now, along with trying to solidify those actions that we're going to take. One of the things in a strategic plan is once you have those actions, right, you got to have them implemented and timelines for that. And some of those actions are dependent on another action already being done, right? And so there will be more to come on that, but it's really already in action to some degree.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
We're not waiting on that, on some of those things. They're, depending on the specific action, it could already be being worked on.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Any
Other
other
than that,
questions?
No? Okay.
Yeah, so the documents that you have in front of you, we had a pastors meeting recently and we shared that with them, but really it's, Kevin, you want to briefly touch on these two?
We have Rebecca Perkins at the this year as a social worker as well. And so the first thing is actually what are the responsibilities of a school social worker? The types of things that she's able to do, the connections that she's able to make. Basically, we really feel that she is able to work with our families to connect them with resources. And that basically is the next one that you'll see. The next brochure you can see, it has all of our community resources. She works with Becca and Rebecca worked together to develop this. It's very, very helpful as far as if a family is struggling in a particular area. Okay, what types of resources or what are some contacts for those particular resources of that need? And so that we are utilizing, and we shared that with you. And finally, we created this to share with all of our first responders, and that's the contacts for everyone in every building. That came out of our first safety meeting that we had with them, that they had said, okay, it's been a while, we know we've had a lot of changes, what are they? And so that other one is just basically telling all the individuals in each building that would be able to have communications with if there was some type of emergency. So, but all that information that we also shared with the clergy and discussed with them, you know, how we as a community can support one another.
We had that meeting last Thursday. We normally meet with them twice a year and to discuss kind of where we're at with different things and then how can we help each other moving forward. You know, they've been very helpful in some of the unfortunate situations that we've had with staff and student passing away and helping our staff and students grieve during that time, as well as some food resources and different things, support services for some of our families in need. So I can't thank them enough. I would also mention too, in the communication part, two other things that we're doing is on Wednesday, I have our first parent club advisory committee. So the parent club presidents, booster club president, band booster president will meet here in the building and talk about communication, talk about ways that I can answer questions for them in the future, but also talk about where we're at and where we're going as a district in that first meeting. I started that a couple of years ago, but COVID kind of took care of that. And same thing with our student advisory committee, my superintendent student advisory committee. We've identified some students now that we're a couple of years from the last student advisory committee that we had prior to COVID. That'll start back up, hopefully here in the beginning of November, meeting with our high school students and giving them a voice as well moving forward. So looking forward to those two opportunities, you know, to gather feedback about where we're going and how do we get there. But I wanted to make you aware of that as well. Okay, overnight trips. You see for the 4 listed there for the different groups that are upcoming. Item C, educational agreements for educating 4 students that have specific needs as listed. Item D, we had the field trip rate, and this is for our bus drivers. We looked at bus driver rates for field trips in other districts, and we wanted ours to be comparable. You know, one of the things that obviously we've talked about is our struggles across the nation of trying to find bus drivers. So we want to make sure that our salaries are competitive, or our wages are competitive for those individuals. So that's why I'm asking you to approve that field trip rate at that hour or that amount. Any questions on those things? If not, I'll ask you to approve A through D in one motion.
For this, is this until the end of the contract? Is that what
So,
the plan is?
yeah, it would just start October 1st, and that would stay that rate through negotiation.
You're right, okay. Which is next spring.
Yes, so we'll be negotiating with both groups in the spring
Right.
this year, of 2023.
Okay. Any other questions, Jim, on anything?
When was their last pay rate? Was that their last contract renewal?
So, Tammy, do you remember the last time that changed? For field trip?
Perfect, okay. Got it, perfect, thank you.
Have there been any field trips in the last 9 days that require retroactive
That's what I was thinking.
adjustment?
Probably, yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
you'd have
Athletics,
all of the
okay.
athletics.
So that'll be a part
You'd
of it,
have-
right? If it's
yeah.
effective October 1st,
Carrie's liking me right now as you said that.
I already had it underlined.
Yeah,
I like
so We did have some kids go on to camp.
Oh,
Yeah, some
that's
other
very
things
good.
too, yeah.
So I think it's just important, right? October 1st, so they'll have to be retroactive if they,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, if there's,
But we'll do that work for you.
or we change the
Yeah.
date, well,
I did.
I think it's already out on
Actually,
there.
actually,
no.
we have a leg, so we should be okay.
Do we? Okay. And it can always be amended, isn't it? as needed.
Yeah. We'll get it taken care of, no problem.
Okay.
Other than that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Kyle, and a second,
I'll second.
Troy. And Carrie, would you please call roll?
Mr. Baden,
Yes.
Mrs. Brent,
Yes?
Mrs. Gwynn,
Yes.
Mr. Lutz,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
All right. Thank you on that. And now personnel recommendations, Jim.
Thank you. You see in item A, the resignations and retirements as listed. Those are just two supplementals and a cook resignation. We're already working to fill that position at this time. Item B are the employment. As you see there, two individuals. I will mention that that first one, we are hiring somebody to be a security hall monitor at the high school. So a different position than we've had before. So that is a new position based on obviously trying to do what's best for security and in moving forward. And that will be helpful to the staff and the high school administration and making sure that we have a safe building, in the building during the school day. Item C, substitute employees as listed. We're always thankful to get substituted people in doing different positions that we have listed there. I know our goal is to hire a few new substitutes for almost every category, especially certified staff, and classified staff. So we're happy to see that. Thank you to Dr. Contat as well for that work and working with Mr. Herman as well with that. Item D, volunteers. Always appreciative of the volunteers that we have, whether it be in the building or for athletics. Item E, limited supplemental contracts. You see those individuals listed there. All of those are either for the camp ones that we had or for athletics. And then item F, Mr. Herman is recommending those supplemental contracts at this time for those individuals listed. And then item G, Mr. Herman is also recommending those contract amendments at this time. So unless you have questions, I'd ask that you approve A through G at this time in one motion.
Any questions? If not, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And Jana. All right, and Carrie, would you please call roll?
Mr. Baden,
Yes.
Mrs. Brent,
Yes?
Mrs. Gwynn,
Yes.
Mr. Lutz,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Jim, for that. And at this point, we have our time for our visitors to speak. We've got two on the list tonight. And if you would, then just please come up with, you've got the microphone there and tell us your name and you've got your address. I don't think we need to talk about that. And we have a oh, yes.
You're up first, sir.
A 5-minute.
Okay, my name is Bill Tucholsky, and like the others that are here tonight, I was very impressed with the presentation made by the students that competed, and they talked about all the growth they experienced through the support of staff here and at Penna. And I taught at Penna for 20 years, and every vocational program had a club, officers, competitions, every student had to participate, and we saw similarly amazing things. But what brings me here tonight is, along those lines, I would hope the board and staff and administration would support other opportunities for students to develop these kinds of skills. And what specifically brings me here is, I learned of a case of a student at the high school who had a fabulous experience in one of her classes where they had a debate on different issues. And she said she learned so much about there's two sides to every issue and how to present good arguments in a very controlled setting and have rational arguments, that she wanted to build on that. So she went to the guidance office and said, I'd like to be on Anthony Wayne's speech and debate team. Guess what? There is no speech and debate team at Anthony Wayne. So I checked with Mr. Hardy, and he confirmed that. And he said that if students have an interest, and there's some adult staff or parents or people that are willing to mentor or supervise students, that they can come forward and a club could be formed. So working in it at the other end, I checked with the state of Ohio to find out what other schools have debate teams and how do you begin a team and compete. And what I learned is there's the Ohio Speech and Debate Association. They're the governing body, and they're in Toledo area. There are right now 21 schools that have these teams, and they compete locally and nationally. And the executive director just happens to live in Sylvania, and he said that if there was the interest on the part of a nucleus group of students and staff or parent, he'd be more than happy to talk to them, what's involved. They can watch their local teams practice debates, understand what's involved, and if it's a good fit, then maybe they can come back to Anthony Wayne administration and say, hey, we'd like to formalize this in a club and see what kind of support we can get. What I do know is that right now, beginning in November, they like to have the member schools pay their dues of $125 to be able to compete and be on the circuit. But he said, I mean, this is off the record, but he said if there was interest in Anthony Wayne, he doesn't care November 1st and November 4th. If somebody talks to him, they are more than willing to make waivers to let them try this on for size, compete locally or whatever. And there's people, other coaches that would be more than willing to speak to these students. So I would just, and Mr. Fritz said that in the strategic planning, you know, and in our mission statement, we want to foster critical thinking, good communication skills, adaptability, empathy, ready for future challenges. And I mean, it'd be hard for me to think of a better way to do this than through this type of activity. So we'll see what happens, but I just, for the record, wanted to make people aware of what we have, what we don't have, what we could have. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, one more on our list. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Frank Dudas. I just wanted to make a request from the board. I know you guys are going to be approving the 2023-2024 calendar, and I'm hoping that you'll take into consideration the issue that we'll have next month, because the school board date is on the same night that parent-teacher conferences are. So somebody like myself, I'll come to the board meeting, then I'll have 2 parent-teacher conferences afterwards. So if you could, next year when you do the calendar, if you could take that into consideration as far as looking, because the only night, Monday night, the night of the school board is the only night conferences. The following day is day conferences. That's all I got. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, that concludes our list of public commenters. If there's nothing else anyone needs to discuss, I need a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
And a second. Gina. And Carrie, would you please call roll?
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Brent?
Yes.
Mrs. Gwynn?
Yes.
Mr. Lutz?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And as he mentioned, our next meeting is November 7th at 6.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
for all attending. Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him, why don't we put the, graduation is never on the calendar? Is that just because the graduation is never on the calendar? Is that just because it's not